of a wonderful film called It's a Wonderful Life. And she's going to watch it again and again and again, and he never gets tired of it, nor do the actors or the players in the film itself. So the purpose of life is for us to decide from moment to moment, who do I choose to be now? Wow. And how do I want that to be made manifest in my reality? And that is, in fact, what life exists to allow us to do. It's the purpose of life as I understand it.
So you feel we choose to be here? Is this
There's no question.
Okay.
Everything is free choice. Nothing happens against your will. Such a thing would be impossible. If you are a manifestation of divinity, nothing could happen against your will. You couldn't lift your little finger unless you wanted to. That is, if you did not want to, you couldn't do it. So, and nor could anybody make you do it. So everything that happens in accordance with your own will. As Conversations with God put it in Book 1, see the perfection. Or as my lovely friend Byron Katie would like to say, loving what is. Don't argue with life. It's happening perfectly, just the way all the players are choosing for it to happen. And so when you stop arguing with life, as Katie would say, stop arguing with life, or as wonderful Dafri John put it, and I thought an extraordinarily striking and poignant sentence. Dafri John simply said, cease all againstness. And when I first read that in a book, I
love that. Yeah.
Cease all againstness. Wow. How do you put the whole game in 3 words? And my life changed when I stopped arguing with life and stopped wondering about the process or asking questions like why or how come, and just let myself move freely into the experience of full and joyous creation, whatever was occurring, even in the so-called not so nice moments. And it's amazing, Lisa, how that can affect your day-to-day experience.
I agree.
Like I might be having a not such nice moment with my spouse. I have a lovely, lovely woman that I'm married to, and she's just a sweetheart. But like all people who live together, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes there are moments that don't go quite as well as you would like. But when I encounter one of those moments with my sweetheart, I just give myself permission to look across the room, and I get to ask myself, wow, who am I now in relationship to this? And then I ask myself life's magic question. And what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? And what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? As I sit down to eat, and what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? And as I sit down to have this chat with you, and what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? If I can't answer the question clearly, I don't do it. I simply don't do it. But when
That's a wonderful way to live.
In that experience with my wife, and what does this have to do with the agenda of my soul? This has to do with a moment of creating myself as I choose to be in relationship to the experience called things aren't going well. So I have a choice to continue with that energy or to just stop everything, get up, walk across the kitchen, hold her in my arms and say, you know what, darling? I love you more than life itself. And I refuse to have this moment come between that feeling between you and me. I'm simply not going to do it. If I've done something to hurt you or offend you or upset you or frustrate you or annoy you, I am so, so sorry. Tell me how you feel about that. Let's see if we can repair it. But let's make sure that we stay and keep intact who we are in relationship to each other. And my wife and I have that agreement. She has that same agreement with me. We have an agreement we had since the first day we knew each other intimately, which was, if ever there's a disagreement between us, can we make this bargain? Never leave the room. Promise you'll never leave the room, no matter how heated the moment becomes. And to the degree that you possibly can, promise that you'll never even leave my eyes. Keep looking at me. Because it's virtually impossible to look into my eyes for more than a few seconds, or me into yours, without falling in love again. Because the eyes are the windows of the soul. And that's when we know who we really are. And then we simply choose to express that, or not, as the case may be, whatever we choose.
Well, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh gosh, I don't know that I think in terms of legacy, but if I had to answer the question spontaneously, I would say, he helped the world change its mind about God.
I love that. And you have. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking
I
me.
really appreciate it. So much wisdom.
Well, it's been very sweet to be here. Thank you for asking me.
You're welcome.